Good afternoon. Welcome to your favorite weekly show, the 360 Minutes Nigeria, a current affairs program where we dissect national issues, we talked about national issues, and we also provide solutions to some national issues that need to be resolved. My name is Ego Sagbonlao. Welcoming you to this week's edition of the program. I have with me very eminent personalities, a very seasoned politician, barrister, and a very seasoned legal practitioner as well, Barrister Nosa Adams. Nice to have you.
Well, good afternoon, Nigerians, and thanks for having me. Okay.
We also have in the studio a seasoned politician as well, and of course a regular face on the program. And I know that our viewer out there will be anticipated, wanting to hear what is the new style of comment on the show today from Desmond Ugbo. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Okay, so we'll be taking a look at very crucial national issues. A senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Elisha Abbo, was arraigned at the magistrate court on Monday and was granted bail in the sum of 5 million naira because of alleged assault on a nursing mother in an adult toy shop in Abuja. The embattled senator also appeared before the Senate committee that was set up to look into the issue, and he appeared 2 days ago. And there was a heated argument between Senator Remi Tinubu and, of course, Senator Elisha Abbo. Let's just hear a snippet of what transpired during that Senate committee sitting.
To us because you undermine us by even trying to do that. You haven't even listened to us. Even if we are going beyond what you expect, you can stop us. But you don't come to on the other side and start dictating to us. Do you want us to protect you, or do you want us to defend you, or you want to be an emotional? Because do you realize that the Senate, I hope that mic and let me finish. Do you realize that the Senate, when we constitute this, whatever the law gives, we can also suspend you? Do you realize that? No, sir. No, sir.
Are you threatening me with suspicion?
We are not threatening you. I said we are not threatening you.
I will not seek threatening suspicion.
All due respect.
This year, if you are simple like me, you will not take me suspicion. I take exception.
Off that man. You are digging a hole for yourself.
All right, then go
and I'm also another woman.
Yes, sir.
I therefore.
Ma'am, please. You're taking the information in the court.
Excuse me. You shall be single.
During the panel sitting, the Senate committee looking into the allegations leveled against Senator Elisha Abbo. It was a video that went viral where Senator Elisha allegedly slapped a nursing mother, assaulted a nursing mother. And the heated argument stemmed from the fact that Senator Elisha felt that the case was already before a competent court of jurisdiction, and that because of his respect for the Senate committee appeared. But Senator Remi Tinubu felt as a woman, and she was very emotional about what Senator Elisha did. But the issue is lessons to be learned. But let's extray, let's dissect what transpired. We'll start with a former local government chairman of Ego, who is also a legal practitioner and a very seasoned politician in Edo State, Barrister Nosa Adams. Now, what's your take on the embattled senator's allegations of assault on a nursing mother?
Well, I will look at it from 2 perspectives.
Okay.
Basically on a legal perspective and from the moral perspective.
Okay.
If you look at it, the way it went is it has some very strong legal implications, and of course an unending moral implication. If you look at it from the legal angle, the senator has clearly violated the sections of both the criminal code and the penal code.
Okay.
And if you go further, you look at the Constitution of Nigeria 1999 as amended, they also clearly run foul of Section 34 of the 1999 Constitution as aforesaid.
Okay.
Now, these two angles, both from the criminal and the penal code and from the Constitution, is criminally liable, and also a torturous act which he has committed that is also actionable.
Okay. That
is on one hand. Then if you come to the side of morality, his conduct has not shown a man that is holding a very distinguished position. He has erred morally, he has acted not in consonance with the very exalted position he ought ordinarily should occupy.
Yeah.
It is morally wrong for him to have laid his hands on a woman in the manner he did, and it's highly appalling the way the whole thing went. But be that as it may, I must say that the matter is sub judice now.
Okay.
And we must restrain ourselves from going into a full analysis or discourse on it. But my own, if I'm to make a personal opinion outside what is going on in the court of law and at the Senate currently, I would say he acted very wrongly against humanity, because violence against women ordinarily is an international offense. Under the United Nations Charter, it's an international offense. It can be charged under the international criminal court. It's an international offense. And the way he even went about it was so disgusting, so it was a wrestle and unbecoming of a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic. But my only regret, sorry to say this, like I said, the matter is already sub judice.
Yes.
But my only regret is that he was not charged. Yes, he has been charged to court, but he was not charged under the appropriate law. Because there is violence against persons Prohibition Act, which is operational in Abuja, the FCT. Because you see the way he was taken to magistrate court, he was granted bail and he went home. No, if he was charged under that act, he would have been charged to the High Court. And very probably, the High Court, because under that act, you have to apply formally for bail. And very likely, the judge will take time to consider the bail application, and that will make him spend some days in Kuje prison. Because that will serve as a deterrent, because it has gone into a stage in this country, we must add within the confines of the law. Because what has brought us to this very abysmal level we find ourselves is we have always acted, especially those that are privileged to find themselves in the position of authority, have always acted against the extant laws we have in this country. Not that we don't have the laws to guide us to behave like normal human beings, to behave like a civilized, well-organized society that we are supposed to be, but because we have always been on the side where we will contravene and nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. That is why you see Nigeria today, everybody wants to form a big man. Everybody wants to do everything to be rich, to be big, because once you are a big man, you are in a position of authority, you are seen or you'll be acting as if you are above the law. Yes, it's been charged to court, but I'm saying, if I were to be in the position of the police that investigated the matter, he ought to have been charged under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. That would have been a very big lesson, not just for him, but for very many of those that will act like him. Because his conduct was very disgraceful, his conduct was very dehumanizing, his conduct was very debasing. You cannot denigrate a human being, talk less a woman, in that manner. And I don't see any reason why a normal, responsible and respectable, distinguished senator who had the rare privilege of being the youngest senator in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Under what provocation should he have acted that way?
Okay, we'll come back to you, Barrister Nusa Adams. Let's also get a thought of another politician and a former local government boss as well, Desmond Ugbo, because they have occupied public office, and Senator Elisha Abbo is their colleague. Okay, now, Desmond Ugbo, what's your reaction to this?
You see, what happened is a case of a bad character. It's a case of a child that appeared to have been nurtured with a mix of bad temperament. Considering the manner he acted, if you watch the CCTV footage, you will discover that the woman was even on a mission to appeal to both of them to down the tension, because originally the distinguished senator did not come for the lady that he eventually vented his anger on. But to be candid, it is one disgraceful act that tends to paint the image of senators and indeed those who have occupied public position in bad light. As Nigerians, we have seen people who have occupied position becoming untouchable, like what the Honorable has just mentioned. Okay. That yes, it has been arraigned before a magistrate court. Okay. That ought not to be the right jurisdiction for trying such an erring public personality. But however, the group of agencies, like we are told that it is the Inspector General of Police that invited him, and thereafter he was arrested, detained, then the following day, having made the bail condition, he was arraigned, and that was all. Let me tell you, it will end as exercise in futility.
How do you mean?
The reasons being that we are Nigerians, and the way we have we come to that realization that yet we must continue to do things the way it ought to be?
But you heard when Senator Remi Tinubu informed Senator Elisha Abbo of the consequences of his actions, that he could be suspended by the Senate. And Elisha was saying that she's threatening him. That means the Senate can invoke those acts and probably also discipline Senator Elisha.
Why did the Senate invoke such act?
It's a process.
When you saw Remi Tinubu back those days assaulting Obanikoro in the chambers, you saw what happened between this woman and Dino Melaye. Charity should begin from home. You see, yes, let us start from somewhere. If we are starting from somewhere, it should be properly done and become a reference point for others to serve as deterrent. If we have started it long ago, since the advent of this national democracy, would have long gone to a very high pedestal where we begin to be the role model yeah, in the Africa continent. Okay. But sometimes you see other countries that we thought we are modern are not teaching us how democracy. Yeah. You see what happened in this country. Sometimes you begin to ask yourself, what is amiss? Sometimes when we talk, we analyze issue, but yet the solutions that we profile from the analysis are discarded. And at the end, you see things keep repeating itself, and yet there will be no solution. So in this climate, what that senator has done is condemnable, is very appalling. A public officer should be somebody that is a role model, that people exemplify, yeah, they want to look up to. Okay. In your public conduct, you have to be civil, you have to be official. There is no amount of provocation that will lead you to raising your hand. But yes, he was trying to give an excuse that those things happened before he became a senator. But election was conducted in February, and the incident happened on the 11th of March. Yet you have become a senator.
He has won.
Senator-elect before the incident happened. But that couldn't give you the ego to become full of yourself, to think that you are above the law. Look at what happened in the final analysis of the footage. You saw the policeman that was invited to come and carry out arrest. In your presence, you saw the way he was now molesting. Does the law also ask you to see the person who invited you to come and carry arrest, to watch him helplessly molesting the accused? So these are certain things, because the lackadaisical attitude of the police and the tacit connivance with which the whole thing was carried out, it went to show that, yes, there is this conspiration between the police and Senator Abu. But however, there are certain extant laws, guidelines, rules and regulations that guide the activities of senators in the House. I am sure that is what Remi was referring to. When you are suspended, you know, we saw others who have been suspended in the past, like we saw in the House of Rep when Abdulmumin Ijubu was suspended, even when he was the chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation. So there are certain ways you can be suspended, but the record has to be set straight. Yes, the manner with which you raise your hand and denigrate that woman is appalling, and it shouldn't be seen. Connecting a such distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Come to think of it, when Remi Tinubu came into that Senate in 2011, she was 41, for crying out loud. So, if at all, it could be the reason why the sometimes temperamental,
the emotion,
emotional disgust. All these things could be attributable to say that Senate is not meant for so age like this. These are certain fall out of it. So when young ones are encouraged to vie for a position, you should hold yourself. Because even our founding father, those are elite who fought for the independence of this country, were not up to 30 years when they took up the struggle. And they fight it brilliantly, and if we have placed a premium on history in our educational, you would have seen that people will be well informed of where we are coming from.
Okay.
With a view to projecting to a better...
Okay, thank you, Desmond Ugbo. We'll come back to you. You have elaborately expressed your opinion on this issue. But let's get the thought of Barrister Nusa Adams. Looking at what has happened, we've seen cases where those who occupy public office seem to be self-serving. Now, by public status, some politicians have the comfort of having an orderly, Now, with this kind of action, what lessons do you think politicians should learn? Because you being a senator does not give you immunity. You can't be imprisoned. Now, what do you think politicians, public office holders should learn from this very disturbing scenario?
Well, the lessons are there. They are discerning. The disgrace and the universal condemnation the senator has received is enough to teach everybody a lasting lesson. Because when the video clip came out, it was like, what is happening? Is this man normal? And before you know it, the thing spread like that.
It was viral. But let me interject, let me quickly interject. Now, don't you think it's because there was a CCTV footage that led to this opera?
Yes.
Now, there are misconduct, not videoed, not seen.
Just like there are crime, people commit crime on daily basis, they are not seen, they are not caught. But it doesn't mean that the crime is justified. It cannot be justified. So people commit so many heinous crimes in this country unseen and uncaught. But once you are caught, you pay the price. Like in this case, he never knew there was a CCTV. But as God will have it, like typical of every stores and outlet in Abuja, they have CCTV everywhere. That is where he was not even conscious of that fact. And in any case, what is he doing? What is he doing says toy shop.
That's his personal life.
That is part of the morality we're talking about.
Yes.
You went to a sex toy store with 2 young girls to go and do what? We all know what you can possibly purchase in a sex toy shop. We all know what you can get from those kind of shops and outlets. But the lesson, like you said, we all have to learn is that we must learn how to conduct ourselves as responsible, gentle Nigerians, as people who operate laws, who are guided by laws, who are guided by rules, who believe in morals. Because when we were growing up those days, you are taught morals before you even go to school. But like a senator must know the very exalted position. Even as let's assume was even aspiring to become a senator. You were able to sit down and say, yes, I want to go and serve. This is the standard that is expected of me. If by the grace of God, I'm able to attain this height. And for a senator of the Federal Republic to behave in such manner, and look at the disgrace he has brought to his family, he has brought to his friends, even to the hallowed chamber of the Senate. That is what Senator Rotimi Tinubu was telling him yesterday. And you can see he was not even remorseful.
But he has apologized to Nigerians. He has apologized to women. Yes.
No, listen, if that apology was sincere and truly for the depth of his heart, then you would have seen it in him yesterday. From his conduct yesterday, I am convinced he has not shown any remorse.
But he didn't want a media trial.
No,
he didn't want the media to be there.
Let me tell you, in the Senate, at that point, he cannot enjoy any parliamentary immunity.
Okay.
He cannot. By the rules of the Senate, he cannot enjoy any parliamentary immunity because at that stage, yes, the matter is in court. He's sub judice. But his colleagues are now asking him to come and tell them what actually happened so that they will have a first-hand knowledge. They are not putting him on trial. They will only just try to, it's more of a fact-finding in-house arrangement. But you see the way he responded, and he went as if nobody can talk to him. But look, let me tell you something, like you said. If this country must move forward, the state actors must learn how to obey the laws of this country. Because it is at the position of leadership, people look up to you. Virtually the young ones, because when we heard that he was a young man and the youngest person in the Senate and all that, people were so excited.
Yeah.
And that conduct has dropped his rate. His rating has come down.
Yeah.
His popularity has come down. Look, you can see the level of condemnation that went with that clip. And it will take him years for him to regain that reputation. Because his image, his family image, there's even another clip that is coming out again now that even contributed to the death of his former wife.
Oh, that's an issue we cannot substantiate.
So
let's go to the one we have now. Yes.
No, because people are coming up with so many things. Because it is now, people are not trying to show him as an habitual violator of women's rights. And once you have that toga, you are finished. Because, like I said, violence against women is an international offense. And even all this one we are saying now, it is possible. It is possible for an NGO to raise a petition against him to the International Criminal Court, and it will be tried. But like we have, everybody should learn a very good, not the bitter one.
Yes.
We should learn a good lesson that when you are provoked, try to comport yourself. Learn how to control your anger. And above all, do things within the confines of the law. Because if you don't operate within the confines of the law will always catch up with you. Look at the embarrassment he suffered. That is why I told you I'm not happy that he was tried under that
magistrate court. The magistrate court.
Because he was tried under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. The police would have been charged along. All those who came with him to come and aid or abet him would have been charged along. And I'm sure, very probably, most probably, he would have slept Kuje prison for 4 or 5 nights because the application for bail would have been filed, they would have been argued, the judge would have maybe reserved a day or two for ruling. But the way it is now, just walk to Zuba Magistrate Court ruled, granted him bail, the bail conditions were perfected, and he walked through. But I know eventually, he must have learned some lessons. Yeah. And all those who are privileged on the line privileged to occupy the position of authority are holding those positions in trust for Nigerians. They are holding those positions in trust for Nigerians, and they must conduct themselves in a way that befits the position they are seen to be occupying. Because the world is now a global village.
Okay.
Whatever happens, before you know it, it will go further and it will cover the entire universe.
That's the power of the social
That
media.
is the power of the social media. As we speak now, anybody that sees himself as a tyrant that cannot be controlled, just expect an embarrassment, because we are in a very fast digital age. Unlike those days, you can do anything in the secret of your home, but this time, just do anything. It's already in the public domain.
Yes.
They cannot hide it.
Yes.
That is why what has happened to Senator Abo should serve as a lesson to all those starting from the local government level to the national level, should serve as a good lesson to everybody that is a position of authority, and not just those who are in the position of authority. Every Nigerian who must learn how to operate. It is very, very important, because crime and all these problems, all these major problems we are having now, starting from kidnapping, armed robbery, Boko Haram, banditry, Esme attack, and all the crime we are talking of, is just simply because Nigerians are not used to obeying laws. We have all the laws we can think of in this world, because this country, we are very good at having legal framework. But when it comes to abiding by them and implementing them, we will always have problems. So we should all learn how to operate and conduct ourselves within the confines of the law, because he knows right there that day that what he was doing was wrong. He's got conscience. He knows what he was doing. You were hitting the woman the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. He knows what he was doing was wrong. He knows what he was doing was illegal. He knows what he was doing was criminal. He knows what he was doing was torturous.
Thank you, Barrister Nosa Adams. This one will go. Now, Elisha Abo, his issue is alarming because there is a footage, a video footage. There are many uncut. What lessons should public office holders learn from this issue?
Thank you. That is where I was coming.
Yeah.
When you talked about the lessons Nigerians should learn from this Abo's trial. One, you saw the footage.
Okay.
If not for the footage, how will he have come out publicly to own up to even raising his hand, talk less of saying, giving an excuse that he was being overreacting? We should encourage the use of these video cameras,
Okay.
both at home, in the office, in the streets, in the school, for the children. Because if you look at the way some pupils are treated
Minors, yeah, are molested.
in the class,
Yeah.
that is another thing.
Yes.
If there was a CCTV camera, I'm telling you, one will begin to behave properly. See, the essence of these cameras everywhere is to ensure that people behave with the highest civility. Because sometimes we saw, even presently, this, there is a government agency who are tasked with the controlling of those who trade on walkways and all that. The way sometimes those with wares are molested and embarrassed, if there is a CCTV camera, when there is a review of such, then you know how to behave yourself. Now, secondly, for the youth, it's very unfortunate that today the youngest of all the senators behave in this manner. That has already dashed the hope of the youth in the next election with this conduct. You know what happened during the time of Patricia Ete?
Okay.
When the first in the history of this country, a woman was given that opportunity to lead. Look at what happened. Can Nigeria now entrust such position currently now, as it is? They are not forbidden. They are qualified by law to occupy such position. But once you are tested and you are no longer trusted for it, it will dash the hope of others who have such intention to come out. They do better.
Okay.
I think the bitter lesson is that the youth has been shortchanged now. They should now begin to do everything to distinguish themselves more than ever before, to win back that flair for them. I think if you look at the lesson Nigerians should learn, nobody is above the law. That you are voted for, you are enjoying a mandate, the mandate of the people to represent them, does not make you over them. You should let your conduct reflect the very people you are representing, if not for the sake of your family, that of the electorate who voted for you. Because to be a public officer, there are certain things you need to put, certain character, certain conduct you need to imbibe to ensure that the leaders that you are now professing to become will be exemplary.
Yeah.
If you are a leader, you are a public office holder, and your conduct is very messy, I think what others will say is that your leadership is not worthy of emulation.
Okay.
So in the case of this Abbas trial, I think it would have been better that the right thing is done by way of letting him pass through the right legal procedure. Let it become a standpoint. Then let it become certain thing that has come to clean the slate, and let everybody become saint by way of adherence to the rule of law.
Okay.
The only difference is in this country that we seems to have been walking 2 steps forward and 3 steps backward is because of the leaders' failure to adhere strictly to the rules of the land.
Okay.
The laws are there, but the implementation and those who are saddled with the responsibility of even fishing out those who are culpable and whatnot, they are, collaborating and making mess of the entire system, and it appears that Nigeria is where we are today.
Thank you, Desmond Ugbo. I hope you are enjoying the program. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria, and I have with me very distinguished personalities, Barrister Nosa Adams, and of course, Honorable Desmond Ugbo. And we have been looking at the recent trial of Senator Elisha Abbo. He was taken to a magistrate court on Monday, granted bail of 5 million naira, and 2 days ago, he also appeared before the Senate committee looking into the allegations leveled against him. And of course, we saw the heated argument that ensued during that sitting of that committee. But we have another issue to look at, and that has to do with the problem currently bedeviling the Edo State House of Assembly. You will recall that not all the members-elect have been inaugurated, but we understand that 15 are yet to be inaugurated, and the 15 were in Abuja, approached the House of Representatives to look into the issue. They also met with the senators to look into the issue, but the House of Representatives, some representatives who include Professor Ihonvare, actually raised the points of order, and they actually wanted the House of Rep to take over the Edo State House of Assembly. But after deliberations, in the wisdom of members, a committee was set up to investigate the current situation right there at the Edo State House of Assembly. And of course, the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly reacted by saying that everything is normal, that sitting plenary is going on, and that those who have not been inaugurated should come over and be inaugurated. But these are the scenarios. We understand that that committee will be in Benin today, and we'll be able to get more details of their findings later in the day. But we have very seasoned personalities with us who, of course, have enjoyed public office, and they know the nitty-gritty of what is going on. We'll start with Barrister Nosa Adams, House of Rep. We understand that there was the issue of takeover of Edo State House of Assembly. So is it proper? Is it within the purview of the House of Rep to think about that?
Well, like I said earlier, this matter is also sub judice.
Okay.
But if I'm privileged to say a word or two about it, I would say the actors are being funny. They are being funny in so many ways because, let's think of it, there is no need for them to go to Abuja. I have repeatedly said it. They are ghost chasing and it will not work. Nobody is going to allow them to do things outside the whims and caprices of the 1999 Constitution. There was a proclamation. Yeah. Whether you call it in the night, you call it in the day, there was a proclamation. And there was inauguration. What ordinarily should have followed is those who have not been duly inaugurated should go back and be inaugurated. If you have issues with whoever as a mayor, as a speaker, you can use your 2/3 majority to sort it out and remove him, vote him out. If you really have 2/3, you can vote him out. You just get there and be inaugurated. For you to go to Abuja and be planning a takeover, because takeover is not going to be easy. Yes, under section 11, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, the House of National Assembly can take over the running or the operation of the State House of Assembly. But if you look at subsection 5 of that section 2, before they can take over, they must convince themselves that the running and the operation and legislative activities in the state has granted to a halt. Okay. That means nothing has been going on, no function of the legislature is being performed. But here, the 9 of them or whatever, the 12 or 10 of them as they claim, they are meeting and they can form quorum. The quorum is just 8. And they form quorum and they are transacting legislative business in the State House of Assembly. So you cannot just run to Abuja and asking National Assembly to take over. And for me, this committee is going to achieve no results, because at the end of the day, the matter is in court. There is a subsisting court order restraining the National Assembly, the APC, the IG, the Commissioner of Police from interfering with the activities of the State House of Assembly. And once there is such order, once such order is in place, it may have been reached per inquiry. The order may have been taken per inquiry. But we are all bound to obey it. We are bound to obey the order because since there is a subsisting order of court, and that court is a court of competent jurisdiction, both the National Assembly, the House of Assembly, both those who have been inaugurated and those who have not been inaugurated, they are bound to obey that order. What they should be thinking now is how to vacate the order, not how to subsume it. They should be thinking of how to vacate the order. But since there is a substantive court order, the National Assembly can really do little or nothing to help those who are going to go around under the canopy of National Assembly or House of Reps in Abuja. Because, like I said, I am an advocate of the rule of law. And if we must practice, if we must have peace, if we must have progress, if we must have a technological advancement, if we must have economic advancement, we must first of all preach on how to adhere strictly to the rule of law. And the rule of law is that once there is a law, let that law bind us. It may not be convenient for us now. Let it bind us. Let us operate within the confines of that law. And that is what I'm saying. One, the civil wrong to have even gone to Abuja to come and ask for a takeover. Two, there is a subsisting court order.
Yes.
Which is binding all of us, including those who are not parties. Three, they should sit down and solve themselves because they're celebrating for 24 by 24. If they cannot coordinate and organize themselves now, because all that is going on for some time now is, for me, a very huge distraction. The government is being distracted. Those elected to the House of Assembly are being distracted. Energy is now focused on how to mobilize forces against each other instead of to focus your resources, your energy towards giving the people of Edo State the dividend of democracy as a trade in your party manifesto, if there is any. You are busy fighting yourselves, drawing inferences from different movements. And at the end of the day, let me tell you how it's going to end up, because we have seen this thing before. I was a very prominent member of PDP. When the crisis started in PDP, we warned those who were involved in the combatants, or those who were the combatants, that look, this crisis can draw us back. And they didn't take our advice. And here we are today. You and I can tell the history of PDP in Edo State.
Thank you. We'll come back to you. Let's get Desmond Ugbo's comment. You see what is happening?
You see,
yes.
When Honorable Barrister talked like that, I know he was talking like somebody that is seeing it from outside.
Okay.
You know, the eye that a native doctor using looking at the sacrifice at the junction. It's different from the one that a commoner will use in looking at it.
Yeah.
The reason being that, you see, what is wrong is you can't build something on nothing. When that crisis started, there was this accusation, a counter-accusation as to when the proclamation was issued, whether the members were all informed, whether it was properly done, whether it was published ahead of the inauguration of the house. At least members ought to inform their family, friends, and all that to join them. There will be pictorials to that effect. It's a big event that one will need to go and join coalition. I'm coming. The position of the law is clear that the governor should issue a proclamation letter.
That is it.
Now, the law also says that the House members-elect should be properly informed. But the law empower such arrangement to be done in the nocturnal hour.
Okay,
of
but
the day.
are you privy to any fact that probably they were not informed?
Listen.
Yeah.
Recall that the very day the members-elect issue a press conference asking the president, the Omonoba Oba L.Y. the second, to appeal to the conscience of the governor to issue a proclamation letter. That same day, later in the night, we started now seeing pictures of honorable members.
Let me tell you what the law says. After that, yes, I'll deal with you.
I'm coming.
Even after that, let me tell you what the law says. Even they were not even invited.
Yes.
During inauguration, somebody can be in Abuja, can be in London, and there will be inauguration in Edo State. And immediately you come back, you can be inaugurated.
Okay.
It's not a one-off ceremony.
Okay.
It's not a one-off ceremony.
Listen. But does the law also empower minority to constitute the house when we have majority?
The law,
but look at it. The reason why I told you that the way you are looking at it from an opposition, from an opposition angle, is different from I am a party chieftain. I know that the crisis rocking Edo State APC is not healthy. Okay. It's not something one should encourage. So as a founding member.
No, let me stay. I'm the moderator. But what's the way forward?
The way forward is this. What is wrong is wrong. The party has come out to condemn it, that the manner you do it is wrong. And that if we process change, and we have condemned all these acts in the past, we should not be seen as doing it, and even doing it worse than ever recorded before.
We've seen party members from different local government asking the members-elect to go to the house.
Yes, that is the power of constituents.
Okay.
Constituents should talk to
them. We've seen that of Owo there.
Yes.
We've seen that of Orion.
When you are a member-elect or a representative of the people, what you do is to regularly hold a town hall meeting with your people. Even in the present crisis, you are right by law to call your constituent and say, look at what we are doing. If you convince them that the reason why you are fighting for this is right, they will allow you to be. But when you are not coercing the people, even when they are not sure of what you are telling them, and you are asking them to follow you, and at the end of the day, you see that the reverse is not the case. They will blame it on you.
No, that's what we'll go. What's the way forward? Now, come back to what's the way forward now? We need to emphasize that. Already, the House is sitting now. Yes, there's plenary.
The National Assembly, like he has rightly mentioned, that Section 11, Section 4 has empowered the National Assembly to intervene in such manner. But the fifth subsection also specifies that is when the House cannot meet. And as we speak now, it is assuming the actual eye of a sane mind
Yes.
that house has not been inaugurated. So asking to recognize a house that has never been inaugurated as being something that is operational, that you not take as an excuse that will not prevent the National Assembly to take over the State House of Assembly is very
No, but the House is
embarrassing.
meeting.
Let me
The House is
The meeting is an irregular meeting. It's an irregular meeting.
Okay, thank you, Desmond Ugo. Now, Barrister Nosai.
I'm surprised my brother is bringing extraneous issues and factors into this very simple legal matter.
Okay.
That is what we are saying, that let us do things according to the details of the law. Apart from being a very strong and long-time political activist in this state, God has given me the opportunity to go and read law, and I'm very, very conversant with the constitution of Nigeria. I'm a legal practitioner. I'm into practice, so I know the issues involved here. They are all, it has to do with law and order.
Okay.
And we must confirm with the details of the law. Was there a proclamation? Yes, there was a proclamation.
Was it properly issued?
There is nothing like properly issued proclamation in the constitution.
Where is the spirit of fairness there?
Listen. I'm just telling you, if you are bringing extraneous factors, then we can sit down and say, okay, let us import so many things. You are imputing. Now, you don't impute in law. You don't impute in law. There was the only thing I see. I'm not supporting that besides. I'm only speaking as a person who is conversant with the provisions of the law. The only thing you see there, which to me is making all this hula baloo to be so pronounced, is that some of them said they were not informed that there was going to be inauguration. Is it not? Because there is a consensus that there was a proclamation. There is a consensus that there was inauguration. But it is the imperfection that we are debating.
Okay. Consensus among the majority.
Hold on now. Hold on. The House have a number that form quorum. They establish a quorum.
Okay, no, sir. There's an issue
has to be outside the inauguration of the House.
That's not good. There's an issue.
You cannot.
No, Sir Adams. There's an issue that you must clear.
Yes.
Now, the issue of the House of Rep. Now,
Yes.
we understand that there is the issue of need for another proclamation. Is that allowed in law?
No, there is no provision for a reproclamation. No, that would be a wonderful aberration. That would be turning the constitution on its head. There is nothing that will allow the governor to reissue another proclamation, and that will lead to a very serious constitutional crisis in this state. I will go to court if he tries that. I will go to court.
Okay.
Because there is no room for a reproclamation. What the only provisions that we have now, which ordinarily, if I were to be, because their constituents are asking them, go and be inaugurated, go and join your colleagues. And if truly they are the representative of their constituents, why can't they hearken to the voices of their constituents?
I just explained to you.
I'm coming, please. Why can't they not listen to those that send them? Okay, if they truly have the comfortable majority as they claim, if I were to be in their shoe, we will organize ourselves. Let me tell you what the others they should have done. They should have organized themselves, go to the house, get themselves inaugurated, get the required to-tell majority, and impeach the speaker if they can do it.
Thank you, Barrister Nosai Adams. You're parting well because of time.
You see,
yes, you're parting well.
What these guys are doing
Yeah.
is the right thing. What is wrong is wrong.
Which guys are you talking? They are grieve?
Yes.
They are grieve.
Yes.
Okay, members
Yes.
elect. Okay.
The members elect.
Okay.
What they are doing is the right thing. The
Okay.
proper thing must be done. We are talking about the party image and status now. The same Barrister Adams will come out tomorrow to come and say, this is what your party has done, as a means of telling the public that they are fair and they don't believe in legality, and they are full of illegality. I think what the governor should do is to awaken to the party. The party is the mother of any government. If the party...
But can a second
advise,
proclamation be made?
that is what I don't know.
Okay.
But one thing is clear, that the manner the proclamation was issued is wrong, and the way a manner...
But we have passed that stage.
Now, it is the same National Assembly, knowing full well that the proclamation cannot be rewritten.
Okay.
They should do the needful within the ambit of the law.
Thank you very much.
And ensure...
Within the ambit of the
yes,
law.
of the law.
Yes.
And ensure that Edo State is properly being administered.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, you have been wonderful. And our viewer there, I must thank you for your time. It's been 60 Minutes Nigeria, and I hope you've enjoyed today's edition of the program. If you did, keep a date with me. God willing, next week we'll be here again to look and dissect other national issues. But Sanusi Adam, thank you. Honorable Desmond Ugbo,
thank you.
You have been wonderful. Thank you very much. Time is not always our friend on the program, but I believe you've enjoyed today's edition. Bye-bye.